What happened to Elden Ring? Why did we get this incredible cinematic trailer at E3 2019 and then have absolutely nothing in almost 2 years since? Has something gone wrong with development? Did Elden Ring ever exist in the first place? Was this all actually an elaborate ruse to distract us from the real game From Software are working on, Bloodborne Kart? When is Bloodborne Kart coming? Hi guys, my name is Hollow, this is a Rage Gaming video, and today I obviously want to talk about Elden Ring. If you somehow are not aware, Elden Ring is the next major game from Software that we can expect to be sort of a next step forward in the incredible series and in fact genre of game that From Software have created, the Souls or Souls-like games. In this video I want to talk about what we do know, any potential rumors stuff when it comes to details about the game, and of course, where even is it? Why have we heard nothing? Before I do get into it, I think I should say early in the video, the game is obviously still coming. It's a game in development. It takes time. We will get it when it's ready, and that is always for the best. However, it is interesting how we've heard nothing through all of 2020, nothing at any gaming event, during which honestly, at this point, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat just waiting for new information, a new trailer, because I think we're at that point where, you know, maybe some new news is due as we anticipate gameplay or just any new information. Let's start with what we do know about Elden Ring, and then we'll talk about why we've seen nothing at all. The details come from Miyazaki, the god himself, during an interview after that cinematic trailer was released initially. In that interview, he described Elden Ring as an open world ripe for exploration, with that core Souls experience continuing in the title. So yes, the first open world From Software Souls game. And unlike before, the world and story isn't entirely based on From Software's own design, but is instead a collaboration with George R.R. Martin, the creator of the Song of Ice and Fire book series, aka Game of Thrones. As an excited fan of the book series and a depressed fan of the TV series, I'm really looking forward to what that means for the world and the direction it might go. Ultimately, George was brought on to help with the creation of the setting of the game. He wrote the overarching mythos of the game. Miyazaki basically explained his vision to Martin, describing the themes, the ideas, alongside different game-related aspects, which led to a bunch of creative conversations about the game, which gave George the basis to write the overarching mythos of that game world. Miyazaki described it to be full of interesting characters, drama, and mystical and mysterious elements. He also said that it was a wonderful source of stimulus for him and the team, claiming that he found it pretty hard to contain his excitement at times. And this sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Absolutely wonderful to hear that. After the different worlds that From Software have created so far, after a 3-part series with a repeating story, you never know if creative drive gets lost over time in these scenarios in a business. And here, Miyazaki sounds like a hyped up kid exploring a new world and story, like he can't wait to share it, and that's just such a good sign. And then the whole first open world Souls game thing, that's crazy. The level design in the Souls series is absolutely some of the best I've ever experienced in all of gaming, and I think part of that comes from it being in a set world that's all connected. In an open world version of that game, we'd travel around huge areas until we reach the various landmarks and more closed off areas. And in that way, I do think this would work well for a Souls game. You know, in many cases, we were already doing that. We would choose which direction we want to go, which area we're going to begin with or go next, even going to places that are maybe more difficult and not advisable if you're not actually prepared for it right from the start of the game. I always loved that, so this kind of leans into that when you think about it. Go where you want, but instead of say 2 or 3 choices, it's the entire world you can choose between now. On the other hand, lately the open world genre has become stagnant. I feel like it's become a formula we have seen too much of now. Usually repetitive and uninspired side content coming across as filler to the main story in many cases. Having said that, games like Ghost of Tsushima and yes, Phoenix Rising from Ubisoft have captured the genre and formula in perhaps the best possible way it can be done, but it is now done to death. I hope that From Software can push the genre of open world games a bit further and inspire other developers to try something new. And I really hope that they don't do what we've seen hundreds of times already. If you're wondering, it has literally been confirmed that the game takes place in open world in a large field to play in, but it'll still feel like a From Software game in that the world will be desolate. They said that if they added life-filled towns on top of this new type of game, it'd be a bit too much for them, a bit too different. They're sticking to what they're best at. However, for the first time, we are going to be able to traverse a From Software game from horseback, which is pretty exciting. But Miyazaki did say we can still find intricately designed multi-layered castles and so on, and we can expect similar design in those areas to what we've known in the past. In regards to the story and world, I have every faith they can create a new and interesting story in a new setting. Dark Souls and that 3-part series ultimately repeated that same story over and over with slightly different characters. Whereas Bloodborne and Sekiro were these incredible, one-shot, unique stories, totally different with unique atmospheres each time. To me, From Software is always at its strongest when it comes to story and world design, creating something entirely new, when they aren't shackled by a series like they were a bit in the Souls series. But anyway, where the hell is the game? Where's the new information for Elden Ring? Why is it taking so long? Honestly, guys, I think we were spoiled by that cinematic trailer. For Sekiro, we had the Shadows Die Twice teaser about 6 months sooner than we got the full cinematic trailer. All we had to work with for that period was this tiny clip of the prosthetic limb of Sekiro. And like I said, we were speculating about that until the reveal trailer 6 months later. Elden Ring instead simply dropped this insane trailer out of the blue, giving its many implications and characters all at once. And now we're doing that long wait, but this time we have a lot more information to work with. So if anything, they did it better this time around by just giving us the trailer from the beginning. No matter what, I'd say don't worry about it. It's obviously still coming, and to be fair, COVID could have slowed development like it did tons of game studios, but that's okay. They will release it when it's ready, and they'll give us new information when they're ready to do so. I have complete trust in them on that. Elden Ring, if you weren't aware, was officially in development since Dark Souls 3's DLC was completed, but obviously Sekiro will have taken priority while they were releasing that. Perhaps the creation of the world and concepts were ongoing after that DLC was finished, but real development must have come sometime after Sekiro, right? Now when it comes to rumors and less iron details, we don't have a lot to work with, but there are some things to mention. Like for example, during the Game Awards 2020, the sadness hit hard after the lack of a new trailer, but Elden Ring did win an award during the show for most anticipated game, which is awesome to see and very true. But what's great is the response we got via this award from Software thanking fans for voting for Elden Ring via Yasuhiro Kitao. Kitao thanked everyone who voted for Elden Ring and for supporting the studio. Those that hold them to a high standard push them to continue future development well motivated. And importantly, signed off with this phrase, "See you in 2021. The reason why this is less concrete and in this rumor section is because, hey, he could just be saying Happy New Year. But speaking on behalf of the team in regards to the award and it being specifically about anticipating the game, you know, see you in 2021, at the very least, I think it's reasonable that from that and in general, we should expect new information at last sometime this year, even if it is later in the year, like I'm thinking it will be at this point. Also, interestingly, Phil Spencer, the vice president of gaming for Microsoft, claims to have actually played an early version of the game. That's reasonable since he is in charge of the console platform and they're partnered with Elden Ring. He knows Miyazaki, but he must have played a very early version. He claims that it's, quote, clearly the most ambitious game Miyazaki has ever made. Seeing some of the gameplay mechanics working with another creator for the story, he loves to see that he's challenging himself. I think it's really cool that they're taking things in such a new direction and working outside of their comfort zone in certain ways. That's, like I said, what I want most. Something fresh from these devs, not Dark Souls 4. But lastly, we did also get a nod from the official From Software Twitter back in October after the Sekiro update. We greatly appreciate all the enthusiasm and support shown for Elden Ring, our next dark fantasy action RPG. We hope you look forward to it. From that, I just say it's good to have the game laid out in official terms after other games recently like Crimson Desert have been changing what they officially are. But whatever the case, for now, we must go on with the tiny information we do have on Elden Ring and hope for some proper news soon. We must all be like Vati and sustain ourselves on very little. Hold strong. Thank you for watching the video anyway, guys. Drop a like if you enjoyed it and feel free to discuss anything Elden Ring in the comments because I know I will. I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'll see you next time.
This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love. So let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, when we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame, or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or important news about the kingdom Animalia. Rage, Continent, Hollow, we're all here talking about the things you want to hear. So if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons, even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros. There's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.